You won't believe what happened to a racist passenger who bullied a black flight attendant. And before watching, subscribe to the channel, like it, and share the story with your friends. And we will start Chapter 1, An Unusual Flight. There was a normal atmosphere on board Flight 237 en route from New York to Los Angeles. The passengers settled into their seats, the flight attendants greeted them with smiles, and the pilots prepared for takeoff. However, one of the passengers, John Smith, stood out from the rest. Tall, with a well-groomed appearance and confident gait, he always considered himself superior to others. When a flight attendant named Emma Johnson approached him with an offer of drinks, John couldn't resist commenting, "Don't you have someone more suitable for this job? I mean, do you really think a black woman can handling such an important flight?" he said with obvious disdain. Emma, despite the derogatory words, remained calm and professional. "I will try my best to make your flight comfortable," she replied with a smile. Emotions were bubbling inside her, but she knew that her job was to ensure the comfort of all passengers, regardless of their behavior. Chapter 2, Unpleasant Words. During the flight, John continued to humiliate Emma. He made racist remarks about her work and even tried to make the neighbors laugh in the row. The passengers looked at him with disapproval, but no one dared to interfere. Emma tried to ignore his words and continued to carry out her duties. "You know, I don't understand why people like you work in such companies at all. It's a shame," he threw at her again. Emma took a deep breath and decided to ignore his provocations. She knew her job was important, and she wasn't going to let anyone ruin her day. She continued to serve the other passengers, doing her best to create a pleasant atmosphere for them. When she returned to John with a tray of drinks, he began his taunts again. "Do you even understand what a real service looks like? It's not your job," he said with a grin. Emma restrained her anger and replied, "I'm here to help all the passengers. If you have any suggestions for improving the service, I will be happy to listen to them." She knew that her calmness could speak louder than any words. Chapter 3, An Unexpected Discovery. When the plane landed in Los Angeles, John was one of the first to leave the cabin. He was about to leave the airport when a group of people in business suits approached him. One of them said to John, "Excuse me, sir, could you wait? We want to discuss a few issues regarding our flight." John was surprised and looked at them in disbelief. "What kind of questions?" "I'm just a passenger," he replied. At that moment, Emma approached the group. She took off her uniform and introduced herself. "Hello, I am Emma Johnson, the owner of this airline." John was stunned. His face paled at the realization that he had just humiliated a woman who was not just a flight attendant but the owner of the company. He felt stupid and awkward. I didn't know," he muttered. Emma looked at him with cold determination. "I heard your comments during the flight. I hope you understand that your behavior was unacceptable," she said confidently. John tried to justify himself. I didn't mean anything by it," but his words sounded empty. "You have to understand that racism has no place in our society or in our company," Emma continued. "I hope that you can learn from this situation and change your attitude towards people." Chapter 4, A Lesson in Humility. After this meeting, John reflected on his actions. He began to explore his preconceived opinions and tried to understand the people around him. Over the next few weeks, he studied the history of racism in America and became involved in local anti-bias initiatives. He also began to communicate with people from different walks of life and cultures. Each conversation opened up new horizons for him to understand and respect others. He became a volunteer in a local organization that helped people from disadvantaged areas get an education and a job. Meanwhile, Emma continued to develop her airline. She introduced new programs to train employees on the importance of respect and diversity in the workplace. Emma understood that every word mattered and that it was necessary to create a safe environment for all employees. Chapter 5, Changes Within the Company. One day, Emma decided to hold a meeting with the company's management to discuss new initiatives to combat racism and discrimination in the workplace. She invited all the senior staff and invited them to share their thoughts on the matter. "We need to create a culture of respect and inclusivity," Emma began. "Each of us can contribute to this cause. Let's make our company an example for others." Some executives were skeptical. "It will take a lot of time and resources," one of them remarked. "But is it worth saving for the future of our company?" replied Emma. "Happy employees work better and create a better experience for our customers." After much discussion, the team agreed to support Emma's initiative. They've started developing training programs for all employees on diversity and inclusivity. Chapter 6. Meeting in a month. A month after the start of the program, Emma organized a special event for the company's employees. She invited speakers from various cultural communities to conduct seminars on the importance of diversity and mutual understanding. John also came to this event as a volunteer. He was happy to see the changes in the company and was ready to share his experience with others. At one of the seminars, he met Emma again. She came up to him with a smile. "I'm glad to see you here. How are your classes going?" "It was incredible," John replied. "I've learned so much about different cultures and the importance of respecting each other." He felt more confident and talked openly about his feelings. Emma nodded. "That's exactly what we want to achieve, to create a space for open dialogue." Chapter 7. The Path to Understanding. With each new event, John became more involved in the company's work. He started conducting his own seminars on how to get rid of bias and build bridges between cultures. One day, he decided to organize a meeting for company employees to discuss their personal stories and experiences. It was important to create a trusting atmosphere within the team. "I want to hear your stories," he said at the first meeting. "Each of us has a unique experience that can help us understand each other better." Employees began to share their stories. Some spoke about their experiences of migration, others about how their family had struggled with prejudice over the years. This created an atmosphere of unity and support among the staff. Chapter 8. A New Way of Looking at the World. A year after the incident, John met Emma again at an anti-racism event. He came up to her and said, "Emma, I want to thank you for the lesson you gave me. I've changed because of you." Emma smiled and replied, "I'm glad to hear that. Each of us can change the world for the better if we are ready to learn and grow." Their conversation was the beginning of a new understanding and respect between people of different cultures and backgrounds. John realized that everyone deserves respect, regardless of skin color or profession. Chapter 9. Fruitful Cooperation. Emma invited John to become part of the company's employee training team. He was glad to have the opportunity to contribute to the changes within the organization. "I want to help others understand the importance of inclusivity," he told Emma during one of the meetings. Emma supported his initiative. "Let's create a training program for new employees. This will help set the right values from the very beginning." John started working on the development of training materials with the HR team. They included seminars on diversity and inclusivity in the program, as well as practical classes on interacting with clients from different cultural backgrounds. Chapter 10. The Training Program. The training program was launched a few months after the start of work on it. At the first class, John spoke to a group of new employees. "Hello. I am glad to see you here today. My goal is to share my knowledge about the importance of respecting and understanding each other." He told a story about how he changed after meeting Emma and how it affected his life and career. The staff was impressed by his sincerity and openness. They asked questions and shared their thoughts on how they could improve the atmosphere in the team. Chapter 11. Impact on Society. Over time, the program has become popular not only within the company, but also outside it. Other organizations began to ask about Emma and John's experience in creating an inclusive work environment. They began receiving invitations to speak at conferences and seminars on diversity and inclusivity. Emma and John worked together to create a new approach to employee training in different business areas. One day, they were invited to speak at a major conference on racism and discrimination in business. They prepared a joint presentation on how important it is to create safe spaces for all employees. Chapter 12. Presentation at the conference. At the conference, John took the stage with Emma. They both felt excited about the performance. "Hello, we're glad to be here today," John began. "We want to share our experience in creating an inclusive work environment." Emma continued, "Each of us has unique experiences and values that can enrich our society." They talked about how their meeting had changed their lives and how important it was to be open to new ideas and opinions. After their presentation, they received a lot of positive feedback from the conference participants. People approached them with questions and thanks for their inspiration. Chapter 13. New Horizons. Over time, John has become a well-known speaker on the topic of diversity and inclusivity in business. He continued to work with Emma on new projects and initiatives. They have created a mentoring program for young people from disadvantaged areas of the city, helping them develop communication skills and self-confidence. "We can change the world for the better," John told the young people during the meetings. "It's important to believe in yourself and your dreams." This program proved to be very successful. Many young people found jobs thanks to the acquired skills and knowledge. Chapter 14. Conclusion. A few years later, John and Emma became real friends. They often met for coffee or lunch, discussing new ideas and projects. One day, during a conversation, Emma said, "I'm proud of what we've done together." John agreed, "Yes, it was an amazing journey." They both understood the importance of their work and the impact it had on other people's lives. Their story has become an example of how even one meeting can change a person's life for the better, how important it is to be open to new ideas and respect each other regardless of differences. Epilogue. The future is ahead. In the future, John planned to continue his work on educating company employees on various aspects of diversity and inclusivity. He dreamed of a world without prejudice and hatred, a world where everyone could feel respected and valued. Emma continued to develop her airline with an emphasis on creating a safe environment for all employees and customers. She knew that the work was far from over, but every step forward was important. Their story continued, a story of friendship, understanding, and a desire to make the world a better place for everyone.